What's up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. I'm with my co-host Heather C. So, Unexpected Season 5 is wrapping up. This is the 14th episode. This episode is very different because it is part one of the two-part tell-all. And before we jump into too much, let's just do some housekeeping real quick. So, first things first, Alex decided to join the tell-all cast in New York. He did not decide to participate in the tell-all. Also, Aiden declined to go to the tell-all at all. He's not there. And we're going to talk about, actually, let's talk about it now. Okay, so Aiden and Jenna have been broken up at the tell-all. It had been 4 months, so it's been even longer since then. And we kind of all saw this coming, right? We knew that Jenna was at her wit's end. She didn't really know what to do to correct where they were as a couple. Do you think this was the best decision for them? Do you think Jenna's in a better place now?
Oh, she seems 100% more happier. She seems very secure. She has a makeover. She said she was getting breast implants. Like, she just seems like she has this whole self-confidence now. I hate to compare it, but her relationship with Aiden was very similar to Jason and Kylan's. And the difference is that Jenna found her voice and she found her strength. And she's like, you know what? I love you, but I love me more. And I love our child, and I can do bad without you. So I commend her for, even though, nobody wants to break up their family, but I commend her for, standing her ground and saying, things are getting toxic. This is better for both sides of the party. So congratulations to them both. I'm sorry that it didn't work out. Maybe after some time in healing, they might reconnect. But right now, I'm glad to see her happy.
So am I. I'm also glad to see two different ways that relationship could go, because we saw how it went with Kylan and Jason, and we saw the opposite of how it could go when you find your voice and you choose so we did get to see both sides of that. So let's talk about the three T's, right? So Tyler, Tiara, and Taylor and their parents, everyone is there, and the babies. And we learned that they are over the baby nursery drama. They have moved on, and they have actually looked back at the footage and cried because they're so hurt that they let it get to that point, and they are so past it. And we learned that had happened a year ago from when they taped this tell-all. So it was literally old news, but it still hit emotion-wise because they were really hurt at how it deteriorated their family and their relationships and how they stopped talking to each other, and they lost that time. And, you can never get back that time. So I'm very happy with their family. And I do want to say that I'm happy with Tiara and Taylor and their moms as well, because they have definitely strong feelings about Alex, right? And we do know that Alex and Tyra are still living together, and they're not fully in a committed relationship. But I just want to say that I appreciate the way that they support Tyra. And everybody wants to tell you how to be in a relationship, who to be in a relationship with, what you should tolerate, what you shouldn't tolerate. They're just letting her be. And I think that that's what family really needs to do. Like, take that initiative. Let people make their decisions, make their mistakes. And if it's a mistake, let them understand that. They have not isolated her. They're still there. They're still supportive. They're still in her life. And I really like that.
Me too. I'm glad throughout all of our podcasts that we did, we always said consistently that we wanted to see them heal because they're such a tight-knit family. So I'm glad to see that there was a happy ending to that. And they realized that, whatever they were mad about was not strong enough to keep them apart. So I'm glad to see that they are healing. They are, being a family again. I like that Alex is there to support her, but I hate that he wants to kind of sit in the back, but at least he's with his daughter, so we can't fault him for that. Why come on national TV and get shamed? He has a lot, going on that, he can get it for. So it's probably smarter that way. But I do like that, they're very supportive family. They're very, tight. I'm glad that they were able to heal. I'm glad, that they're moving forward.
Me too. All right. So one of the couples sat down together and they had an open conversation with Ananda, and Jason doesn't seem to feel sorry for the way that he behaved on the show. And all of the moms on the show said that they didn't hold any judgment towards him if he would show remorse and say that he was sorry for the way that he treated her. And he doesn't feel like it's necessary. Kylan did say that he did apologize to her, but we don't really know if that's true. And he said that, oh, you guys just assume that what you saw on the show is how I really am. And a lot of these girls have been in relationships that are borderline toxic, and they recognize the signs, and they really wanted to show support and give her a lifeline. Like, if you want my number, call me. If you need someone to talk to, if you're afraid, if you feel like you're alone. And I feel like Jason refused to let her accept that. And he went and attacked the girls. And one thing that happened on the tell that really bothered me, right? They asked Kylan a question, and she had began to answer the question. And Jason turned and looked at her, and she stopped talking. And it really hit home, because I thought, she's afraid to finish that statement based on how he would react to that statement later when the cameras aren't there. And it really hit, because I thought, she can't be herself because he's not allowing her to be herself.
It's almost like they're all programmed to be scared of him. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose anybody, but it's almost like he is struggling with something, that maybe he has some like deep rooted anger issues, or maybe something along the lines where he might not realize that his actions are, so toxic. He obviously gets it from his parents, because they were all celebrating at the end that he was getting all this attention, and the dad was like, the ratings are because of us. And it's like, come on. You chose to stay silent, and that's the first thing you decide to say. You should have been like, get your shit together. You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing yourself on national TV. And he chose to be like, hey, oh, that's my boy, getting those ratings up. I think that he is programmed through social media. I think that he sees that, okay, all these people can go viral for doing stupid things, saying stupid things. I want to take this. I live in this, town or whatever, and I want to be the next sensation. And he's going about it wrong. He's doing I'm getting famous off of being a jackass, and it's like, it's not a good look. It's not, because what is the price of fame for hurting your family? Because your son is going to grow up seeing this behavior, and you're going to have another generation of a man disrespecting his family. Something has to stop. It's not cute, it's not funny, and it's not fair. And what is up with the part where she said, oh, we don't have our driver's license, but yet he was driving all over the city? Yeah. Now, I know things that people do in the country settings is different than city settings. A lot of people start driving at an early age, but there's a law for everything. I'm pretty sure every state has a common denominator where you have a driver's license. And he not only was driving her back and forth to the hospital and the midwife, but they were going to their friend's house. There's a lot going on with them.
There's a lot to unpack there. And I don't know. I know he was arrested around the time his son was born, and I don't know if his license was revoked during that or if he ever had a license. They didn't really explain anything. Hopefully on the part 2 of the tell-all, we will get a little more clarification on that. But we do see that he's taken a liking to the fame. And I don't even want to call it fame. It's the notoriety. People know who he is. But again, there's good notoriety and there's bad notoriety. Like in the news today, Amber Heard has a lot of bad notoriety. We are talking about her, but not in a positive way. And I feel like Jason sees that since people are talking about him, no matter what the subject matter is, it's good. And it's not always good. And I feel like when he reacted that way, it made me wonder if he really is this way, or was he acting worse on camera to try and be the star? Exactly, because he feels like he's the star of this TLC show, Unexpected. And it makes me wonder if his actions are warranted based on he wanted to be that person with that notoriety and that fame. And that also came across my mind, and the way his parents reacted, and they're like, well, if it wasn't for us, there would be no show. And it made me wonder if they were making these decisions based on fame and being on TV. And again,
get a spinoff, and they can get all these other opportunities, because they're always going to remember as those problematic people.
Exactly.
But what he doesn't realize is that this could backfire. there are people in the world that are crazy and psycho. What if people are trying to call Child Protective Services on them? What if they're trying to petition to get the child taken away because they think that the baby and Kaylin are in this, horrible, scary situation, and he's doing it all for the fame? You have to realize that whatever you do in life, they all have repercussions. They all have things that will come back to you. Karma is real. You have to realize, is it worth selling your soul to the devil for your 5 minutes of fame? So I just hope that some point he grows up. He might not, because his parents were the same way, but he just grows up and realizes he's hurting himself and his family.
All right, guys, that's it for this week's podcast. There's only one more podcast for this whole season. Thank you guys so much. This has been an explosive season, a very eye-opening season, a season that we can take notes from and learn from and take the information that TLC has given us from Unexpected this season and look for signs and maybe have a lifeline and reach out to other young girls who could be going through this. So there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I love the positive side of that. And now we know what to look for. So that's it for this week. We're going to be watching part 2 of the tell-all next week. I cannot wait. It's going to be explosive. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. Thank you so much for joining us. Live tweet with us every Sunday night. And we'll talk to you all really soon.